to Epic Living, a podcast where I, Julia Wicker, will be exploring literature and how it's still relevant today. Today's episode is called Inevitable Change, an analysis of Ovid's Metamorphoses. Metamorphosis means transform or transformation. Ovid's Metamorphoses is composed of many myths. I will talk about how Ovid conveys lessons of change and relationships between gods and humans through his epic. So let's get into it. Okay, let's start in Book 3. It tells us of Narcissus. A nymph falls for Narcissus, but he isn't really too fond of her, and he is not afraid or easy to let her know that he's not. And with this, he starts to become obsessed with himself. It even comes to a point where he isn't able to leave his reflection. So, not being able to leave, he transforms into a flower. This really shows how damaging selfish and self-obsession can be. His change from human to flower and from arrogant to outright self-obsessed is Ovid's way to show us that who we are is not just set in stone, but rather something that builds a long time. In Narcissus' case, his flaws truly shaped him. Another key story from this epic would be about the tragic love of Apollo, which he has for Daphne, which is from Book 1. Apollo is struck by Cupid's love arrow, literally. However, Daphne does not withhold the same affection for Apollo. She wants to be content with her chastity. In order to escape Apollo's love, she's called upon her father to save her, in which he turns her into a tree. Apollo then declares that tree will still stand, will be his sacred tree, which I don't really know how she can escape from that, because she can't really say anything about it. Anyway, so this story really highlights on many of the lessons that Ovid conveys throughout Metamorphoses. One, showing the God and mortal relationship. Daphne has found herself caught in between the dealings of two gods. She has no other option than to flee Apollo's conquest-type love, just so she can resist him. This also highlights on transformation. Daphne chooses to change just so she isn't violated. Transformation was an act to resist the god, and also tragic because she lost her human self. The themes found in Ovid's work is still relevant to today. Transformations are never ending. Our bodies change from newborn to child, to teenagers, to adults, and then into the elderly state. Not only physical changes, though. As people, we experience personal growth from circumstances that we all experience, no matter how different they are. Reality, just like Ovid's epic, can be painful, freeing, and so much more. Change is inevitable. I personally have not changed into any kind of plant or animal. However, my mentality and many other things have changed since growing older. And it's probably never going to stop. Who we are as people and the ways that we change is always relevant, and has been for a while, being that this piece of literature is pretty old. To conclude today's episode, Metamorphosis poses more than just to entertain the reader. Each story provides us with things that are relevant to today. Change being one, identity's ability to be changed, and some interesting power dynamics found between mortals and gods. Ovid reminds us that change will happen, whether it be good or bad, It's just all a part of life. Anyways, thank you for listening. Remember that change is inevitable. Just embrace it.